Hey everybody, this is Starjump Grim doing an audio check. Let me know in chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know if my mic is coming in 5x5. Hopefully I am. And if it is, we will get this party started. Lazy doing some math, showing 25. All right, appreciate everyone. Give me just a minute here. Execute's getting settled, and we will begin the show.
Basically, that's why I'm not allowed in New Zealand anymore.
See, if only everyone had come in at the right time. Here we are, everybody. I unqueued the wrong scene, actually. Hey,
Right,
everybody.
that's fine.
Hope you're well.
I probably played that joke terribly. I'm about to say a joke. Get ready. Then he's just like.
To be fair, we were talking before the show started.
Yeah.
Everyone, hello. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight. Already got a follow coming in, so thank you very much, Small Town. Appreciate it. Couple of things real quick. We got a topic we're going to talk about, obviously, but we got some housekeeping to do up front. First off, my guest host tonight, Execute from the Info Runners. Execute, thanks for joining us. How have you been?
Good, man. Yeah, real good.
Good. Well,
it's been a good break. I think we're going to start to kick back off now.
Yeah,
with Starjump.
I agree. You had a great show today, and I think today's discussion will sort of lead off of that a little bit. But those of you that don't know, I'm sure you do. The Info Runners does absolutely incredible content. Was a very, very early, if not the first, real supporter of Starjump. So obviously, big thanks to Execute for sure. He's always been there, kind of supporting us, even when we were like 10 followers on YouTube. So appreciate you coming on and hanging out. The rest of the Starjump crew is off on other adventures tonight. We do have a few things here. Let me pull up my notes.
You make them sound like drunkards.
I know. They're They're off drinking tonight. They're having a few drinks.
Hey, slosh! No. Hey, go on.
Tonight, everybody, we do have an Aegis Avenger Citizen Compact to give away to go over a little bit about how that's going to work. There's going to be a drawing on Twitch, a drawing on YouTube, and I'll take the winners of both. I put you in the random wheel of names. I'm going to spin it. The winner of that wins the ship, the starter pack, and the runner-up will get a Starjump poster, probably the all-ship scale poster. For those of you on, let's talk about how you do this. Okay, let me pull up my windows here. If you're on YouTube, there is a link pinned to the top of chat. Okay, people seem to miss this. There's a link pinned to the top of the chat. That is for my Banu Merchantman Shipyard video. You just go to that video, you leave a comment. It could be one word, hello, hi, goodbye, whatever. Leave one word, and that I will pull a random comment that has been given from the time of this show start. So don't have to worry about old comments there. It doesn't select those. Go ahead.
Is the reason you do that the same reason we do? Because comment pickers are free?
Yes, they are free, which is really good. But
if you use anything else,
I've learned,
so people know, they charge astronomical amount of money for giveaways.
Oh my gosh,
giveaway bots and stuff.
I did one time where it had like the 5 different options you could join. It was for when I did the Polaris giveaway. That membership to thing was so expensive, and it didn't even work that good. If you're on Twitch,
$50 a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's what we're talking.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're on Twitch, all you have to do is you'll see it just started. All you have to do is hit exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket and then a space max, and you will be entered in to win that. We will give that away at the end of the show. Again, it's an Avengers starter pack. It's the Citizen Con version though from last year, which is actually pretty good. It comes with the Avenger, which is a great starter ship, honestly. Iron Weave paint, which is the paint that makes it look the best in my opinion, and it comes with a whole set of the Arden SL armor, 15,000 UEC. It comes with the P6LR bearing sniper rifle, 24 months insurance, all that good stuff. So it's actually one of the best starter pack deals out there, to be honest with you. Hopefully CIG brings more of those back for Invictus and IAE. Thank you for that follow, Carlos. Appreciate it. Again, I'll go over the giveaway stuff halfway through the show, and then we'll give it away about 10 minutes before the end of the show. I will go ahead and tell you, you do need to be on and watching for when I call your name to win. Okay, so just a heads up on that. All right, let's keep on going here. If you haven't already, we really do appreciate you following us on our different platforms. Obviously, we're over on Twitter. Please give our YouTube channel a follow. We are literally like 3 followers away from 14,000 our subscribers. 3, and we just cannot seem to cross that barrier. So please do.
So we've crossed like 17,000 like 4 times.
That's
awesome. Go over and then under and then over and then under. Yeah.
Also, if you want to support Starjump, please head over to the Patreon. I just released some posters over there at 8K resolution, printable quality, including some that have only been given away at physical events like Bar Citizens, which includes the Idris Cutaway poster, which is really sweet. Big shout out to VMXEO and StarFab team for helping put that one together. So if you're over on Patreon, that's how you do those. Free members get access to a bunch of some stuff, and paid members get access to some stuff. Gonna get back on the Patreon stuff and try to get more benefits in there, though. I got a few ideas.
I'll give you a tip.
Yes.
Make him passive.
What's that?
Make him passive. No work is great.
Yes. So I've tried that before, and it did not go well when I made it all about the work. So okay, everyone.
Yeah, because you're kind of doing it to help you do other stuff. So if it becomes more work, it just doesn't work.
That's very true, and it's tricky finding the right. It's tricky finding the right types of benefits. What's that? Which one?
The poster. I need the other one to go on my wall.
Oh,
the one you send me an image of it. I need a copy.
Oh, I can hook you up. I actually have 8 posters you can choose from, so I'll send them your way, and you can.
Well, I've got the one with all the big ships on it on my wall, and then I kind of want the YT ship scale one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can make that happen. Yeah.
I think you should just call it that because it's a tip of the hat.
Yeah, for sure. I have called it that. I think on the community post on RSI's website, it is called, or that is in the title or credit to it. But I did just update it actually with the Super Hornet and the Fortune, so I try to keep it updated as quickly as possible. Oh, by the way,
hard to do that though too.
Very hard to do. Trust me, it's a whole thing. I talked to Ben Curtis about that actually.
You'd be lining it up and everything all the time. It'd be a
It's
nightmare.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare. It's a
Yeah.
big file too. It's like 10K. Real quick,
Yeah.
everyone. I've had a few people ask for Fleet Viewer when the Super Hornet is coming to Fleet Viewer, the Super Hornet Mark II. It actually is done. I'm just waiting for Starlet to integrate it. She has all the assets. She's actually really sick right now, so she asked if I could give her a day or two on that. So please be patient. If I've also had a lot of requests for the Heartseeker livery to be put into Fleet Viewer as well. I am planning on doing that. It's not prepped and ready yet. Also, big caveat: all the ships that have gone in for about the last 8.5 months, if you remember, and that includes the Fortune and also includes the Super Hornet. These run through the Cinema 4D pipeline that I do. These are all flight ready ships, though. We will backtrack and export those via Starfab when Starfab is finished being updated. I've been told it's very, very close. Just waiting patiently for the Starfab team to finish. Remember, as I posted over on Twitter or X the other day, the Star Citizen tools that are out there, whether it's Starfab, Urkel, Starship 42, all those tools makers do not get the light shown on them very often. So please make sure you give them some support and love. Shall we get into it? We're
Sure.
talking today about monetization in Star Citizen. And I thought you were particularly a good, the funny thing is, so the other Starjump host couldn't be here tonight, but the funny thing
So
is
be seconds.
I know, I'll probably say this, but I'm saying I actually always had you penciled in for this episode as someone who'd be good to have on. And the reason is I wanted to talk about monetization and obviously value and everything like that, but more in terms of if how this game has funded itself and what those patterns have been like over time. And I honestly can't think of a single creator out there who's probably tracked those patterns and knows more about it than you, just because of all the whether it's fix my fleets or analyzing a ship or whatever. There's always this prism or this you're looking through it almost through the lens of value, what you're getting for your money, and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like that's always been sort of part of the info runners dialogue. So I again thought this was a great show to have you on. Thank you for that follow, Worm. Appreciate it. So actually, this first thing, I wonder if you could kind of run us through, and this is for any of you out there that are new to Star Citizen. Maybe you've just started playing, you don't know the what is it, 10, 12 years of history with this game. Execute, maybe you could give us a little bit of a primer here on how the game funds itself, like just the basics.
From the basics, not the
Yeah.
beginning. Basically,
And maybe
you
from the
purchase
beginning.
ship-
Yeah, maybe from the beginning, actually, even. It's just a little bit of a history lesson.
Okay. So the first 6 million was raised on Kickstarter. They had 5 ships, and they did add, I believe they added the Caterpillar as well at that time. And I think the Freelancer came a little bit after that. I'd have to go back and check, but there was really not that many ships back in the beginning. And they were promising Squadron 42 from the beginning as a single player campaign. And they would use the single player campaign to fund the multiplayer. That really hasn't changed all this time later, as in the latter part I mentioned there. But what has changed is bigger and bigger ships have come along. At the time, the Connie was the biggest. Now we've got a Javelin and a Kraken Idris, that type of thing. And I think the prices, they did say way back in the beginning, as time went on, prices would go up. And they have. Yeah, it's a different funding model from anything that's been done before. A lot of people have said it's the most successful funding model of all time. I wouldn't agree with that statement.
And
For example, go
I
ahead.
think they're up to, is it 780 million or something like that now? And
Yeah.
I think some of that is investor money, but the vast majority of it is backer money.
Yeah, but the other thing to take into account, like, I can't remember what year. I think it was in 2018, 2019, or something like that. The game PUBG was making over 10. It was like something like $10.6 million a day.
Wow.
And it worked out to be something like 26 billion over a year or some shit like that. It was
crazy.
like some ludicrous amount of money in 1 year. And that is obviously completely dwarfs everything that we're doing here, right?
Right.
The other thing you got to look into is that there is no marketing for this game. It has all been word of mouth. And no matter how many times they try to squash this game, the funding goes up. It's almost as if people call it shit and a scam and all that, and they turn up and it's the inverse of what they actually saw.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, and we're going to go through this as is in the rest of this conversation, everyone. We're going to kind of separate into two buckets, right? What the current, so we're talking about right now how the game is funded, but we're going to talk about the different ways CIG monetizes things now, right? But then we're going to go into ways that they possibly could monetize things and the reasons why they may want to do that, right? So, um,
Don't keep
it really,
your
go ahead.
money in. Just saying, why do you keep your money in a bucket? Wouldn't it be in bags or a bank or a vault? But
Yeah,
buckets, that's a new one.
yeah, yeah.
We'll have to look
It's a
into
turn
that.
of phrase. I don't know if it's regional here in America, but yeah, maybe it's from
Sure.
the South where I'm
In
at.
the crazy bin, in the
Buckets of
crazy
money.
bin, yeah. Oh,
um,
buckets of money. Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
coins. All right, I'll give you
but
that one.
it is a unique funding model, and this all goes back to the idea that that a game like this probably would have never been allowed to be made without a funding unless it was funded this way. If it had gone through a traditional publisher, there would have been hard milestones to hit. Otherwise fun, I mean, you see games get canceled all the time. Hell, you see games that get released get canceled like 2 weeks after release, you know what I mean? So publishers and stuff have no problem canceling games and pulling the rug out from game developers. So
Mm.
this is a
I
unique
think
model. Yeah.
I think that's a strength though, because not having a publisher, it's a blessing and a curse. Like I
Yeah.
think they would have been steered a little bit better with a publisher,
Hmm.
but I think they'd be far too leanly steered, if you know what I mean. Like the road would have been too thin. I think possibly now the road's a little bit too wide.
Yeah.
But they've been
Thank you,
learning
plastic.
as they've gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah.
and look, there's a lot of missteps. We'll talk about some of those for sure as we go through this. But essentially, this is a crowd-funded game. I think CIG probably has their own new language for that. I've heard even rumors that they don't love the word backer anymore, and that maybe they're going to start referring to us as players, just sort of get out of the shadow of that responsibility. I don't know.
I
You know,
I looked at that years ago and I just went with citizen.
yeah,
That's why
citizen.
I don't
Yeah,
know if you see start every show, hey citizens, see you citizens, like g'day citizens, that type of thing. I just call everyone citizens.
yeah, yeah,
Um and you could actually be derogatory almost, and anyone that hasn't backed the game, they're a civilian. Uh,
yeah.
just
Well, and
just like Starship Troopers.
and I get what CIG is, if they do have a concern about that, I get the concern about of a word like backer, because people do when they don't like something. And again, that's not to invalidate the things they don't like about the game or decisions that are made,
Hmm.
but there's this feeling of I put money into the game, so you owe me the right decision. You know what I mean?
Is this the old you're a policeman, I pay my taxes, I'm your boss analogy?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
and I hear that
Yeah.
all the time. It's like, and people say, "Well, oh, I don't like master mode, so stop backing the game, stop backing the game." And it's really tricky. I think you got to remember, even though this is uncharted water for us, we're all
Mm.
still. I think a lot of people, including myself, still hope this game becomes what it will become. I can't say for
Yep.
sure it'll happen, but I think there's a small degree of that inside CIG. I think they're internally they're probably
Mm.
pretty optimistic, but even
Yep.
CIG probably doesn't totally know where the wind is taking them on this. I think they have a compass bearing.
A little bit.
They
Yeah.
they know what direction they want to head, but they don't know what the island is that they're going to end up on. You know what I mean?
I ever since the beginning, I've kind of know what this game was going to be, and I how do I put this? It's not my game. It's
Yeah,
not your game. It's not anyone listening's game. It's Chris's game.
that's true. Yeah, exactly.
It's what he wants it to be, and I think he has proven his track record in the games that he's made previously.
Yeah,
And if you really want to see, he's perpetually been trying to make the same two games his entire life, and he had all the publishers block him all the way along. Like Microsoft brought him out,
yeah,
pushed his game out. He left the company, like, and that happened on a few other places as well. You can just see that he's been trying to get. He knows it's going to take a long time, and I think he's now this close. He doesn't want to stuff it up, and like knowing what happened with Cyberpunk, like a couple of years ago, you've only got to go read that
Oh yeah.
You know, the leader of the Chainmen, that tells you everything you kind of need to know about how he's thinking,
Yeah.
especially at that time when that came out. And they're going to take their sweet time with Squadron 42. I
Yeah.
think you would agree with me, though, with the games that you've looked at in your background. That was a pretty polished game at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Are,
Yeah.
are all the other levels that polished? Probably not, but that's what the next 2 years are for.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, when I saw it, it did nothing but boost my excitement for Squadron 42.
Yep.
Um, and I've been someone who's sort of waffled a little bit on Squadron 42. There's times where I'm like, yeah, I could play that, and there's other times where I'm just like, give me Star Citizen. You know what I mean? But I got to
Yep.
tell you, the more I'm seeing about Squadron, the more I'm really interested in it, and the more I'm excited about
Mm.
it. And you
Wouldn't you
know,
want both though? Really, realistically speaking, if I
yeah,
could just flick a
yeah.
switch and they both turned up tomorrow, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take both.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and I do think CIG is going to build in some cool tie-ins between the two
Mm,
games. And not just in like items that carry over, but there could be some cool
mm,
like persistence that carries over from one character to the other. I'm not really sure. We'll see. But again, they've had all this time to do it. The 2026 release date was surprising, but um, that
it was
goes.
painful, to be
It,
honest. It was.
it's
I went all the way to the
yeah.
UK and dropped that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit!
Yeah.
And our, and
Oh, that's right.
and
You
our,
went there. You went there.
well, our grid, like we were told that it was coming out, right?
Yeah.
I won't say who or what, but we were told it was coming, and then 2 weeks after we booked our tickets, they essentially cancelled the gala, and we went, oh, it's not coming. And
Yeah.
we were just like, oh, okay, okay. And like, so saying at 2026, say I go back there again,
Yeah.
Agrid can't come.
Right.
He can't get time off.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he's actually in the process of now getting his citizenship, because so he can potentially change that.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's yeah. So he's technically still a POM. He's lived here all his life. I think he's like 58 recently, and he's never got a passport to here. So and it's not cheap either. Like, we have the most expensive passports in the world. I was looking at getting
Yeah.
mine renewed for the end of this year. Now, 10 years ago, I got one. It was $220. It's now $415.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's funny. Actually, I gotta get. You just reminded
Yeah.
me. I need to get my passport done. I'm going on a trip
Yeah.
later this year.
Mm.
So here's before we go into the current ways they monetize. I want to talk
Mhm.
about something that I brought up on several streams of mine lately. And again, everyone in chat, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Um, So, Squadron 42, 2026. We don't know if it's a beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, whatever. But what we do know, anyone who knows anything about marketing, I work in marketing now for film and television, but there's a lot of marketing involved in television. I can tell you right now, marketing campaigns can generally start anywhere from a year to 6 months ahead of a major product. And I am sort of looking at this almost like as a film. And I actually think Chris is going to want to market it like a film, Squadron 42, and
How
use
would
some of
you
the same
market it?
strategies. Huh?
How would you go about marketing a single player video game?
I think he's going to take a traditional film approach because he loves the world of film. And I see teaser trailers. I could see even a trailer attached to a film, like a big movie in the theaters. I could see something like that. You know what I mean? Tied in
So
with additional video game marketing stuff that's pretty standard.
I think their biggest marketing tool is twofold:
Mm-hmm.
us and Star Citizen. And I think that's one of the
Well,
reasons they're moving to stabilize it.
I'm glad you brought this up because this is exactly what I wanted to talk about.
I'm reading your notes, but I'm
Yeah,
assuming I'm on right. Right, cool.
you're 100% right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot. I think there's a lot of dialogue on why and we heard what Jared said on SCL, and again, shout out to Jared
Mm,
because I thought he asked some really pointed questions
he did.
to Benoit. But specifically, why are they doing this year? And 100%, I think it's because Star Citizen is part of the marketing campaign for Squadron 42.
Mm,
You can't have articles by the game press out there talking about Squadron 42 and how it's about to
mm,
release, but then also mentioning, well, the multiplayer version of the game, which has currently been in early access for 12 years, is unplayable. That's
yeah.
not going to work.
There was a video that came up in my feed by Game Ranks. I don't know if you know that YouTube
Yeah.
channel, but
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
do a lot. They do a lot of before you buys,
Mm-hmm.
and they have this series like top 10 thing, and it was like top 10 games you won't believe are still coming or something like that.
Right.
Star System was number
Was it?
and Squadron 2 was number 5,
Of course it
and
was.
he got a lot of stuff wrong, like
Yeah.
as in dates and how long they've been working on the game and but that's a good thing to look at it as
Yep.
in a person to look at casual games or more broad games, how it's perceived. And
Sure.
that is something I always try and do is try and put myself in new people's shoes to see how they see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the IGN comments are just insane on the Henry Cavill. I call it the Henry Cavill single player intro thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go there and there's so many people arguing that it's not Star Citizen.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god.
Hey Vic, hope you're well, bud.
No?
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's one of those things. Like I've been really split on the whole bug fixing for this year thing. Part of me plays the game for 10 minutes and goes, "Oh my god, yes, please fix these bugs." The other half of me
Mm.
goes, "All you're going to do is spend this year fixing the game, and then you're going to put a bunch of massive features in the game next year that completely break the game again. And then you're going to see all the articles and all the content creators
Yep.
do shows and episodes on was 2025 the biggest waste of a year we've ever had."
So you can look at it like that, and I often thought that for a long time too, because
Mhm.
working in game development, you often play with it broken all the way up until the end. But
Yep.
they're realizing because it's a live product, they've got to take a slightly different approach.
Yeah.
And I think what the part is it's hedging your bets in a way. If they can't get the server meshing in time,
Yeah.
dynamic. What they can do is pivot and just fix all the bugs anyway. But if they haven't attempted any fixes at all, only after it's server meshed,
Yeah.
then they're left holding the bag.
Right.
Right? And if you've got you cannot tell me in your experience that if you fix something here, the fix wouldn't be identical after server meshing anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do the math. The question really becomes, and it's a complete guess, right? You and I couldn't guess it, but how much of it is a redo?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they would at least have plans for how server meshing works right now, so they'd be able to build it in a way that works for both. That's
Yeah.
at least where I think they're going.
Yeah.
And he
Well-
did mention a fix for now and a fix for later. He said that a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, I really think it was. I mean, we really should have all expected that post server mesh release, they were going to need a period of refactoring. I mean,
We are big enough and old enough and been here long enough. Come on, like if
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
playing this game now, you're new, and that's fine. Like I have this running theory: all the people complaining on Spectrum are just new people that eventually learn and move on.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but like that's what I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, Toby
Um,
and chat. Yeah, you're exactly right. I think it's this change in direction is more related to Squadron. Yeah, exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and keep pressing forward. I want to talk about what their current monetization strategy is here, and I'm just going to list out a few quick things, and then we can just talk about random stuff. Thank you for that follow, Gremlin. Really appreciate it, everyone. Thank you for the follows tonight. So currently, how does Star Citizen monetize? Well, obviously, ship sales. They have ship sale events. They have starter packages. They have ship packages, and they sell paints and furniture and flair items, I guess, if we want to attach a name to them. Those are kind of their sort of 5 little pots that they have income coming in. Am I forgetting anything? I guess physical merch and subscriptions though would fit in that too. To
you could
some
almost
degree.
say they sell stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they sell stuff.
Comes
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Let's talk about the big one though, and that is ship sales. Now, 2025, and this is kind of an overarching theme of tonight. 2025 is going to be a bug fixing year with narrative content, which I think is a big mistake, but I can go into that on a different show.
Narrative content's not that heavy, man.
Well,
Like look at what we've already got. It's just just an overarching story. It's
yeah,
not
here's
that
the thing.
heavy.
Actually, I'm fine with narrative content. It's the time narrative content that is bothering me. Where they're like, okay, you only got this amount of time to play phase 1, and it's like, well, first off, that's not necessary. You could just you can have all 3 phases up. There's lots of games to do, but plus the servers are so broken that I need 14 months to get through phase 1.
You're not thinking as a dev. Why have they done that?
Yeah, tell me.
that forces people to test
That's
when they
true. That's
want
a good
things
point.
tested.
That's a good point. It does
They
light a
had a
fire.
lot of trouble with they had a lot of
It does
problems
light a
with
fire.
people testing, and if you put a mission in that you need to learn if that works or not, that would allow them to do that, and it allows them to turn these events on when they need testers.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. I should have thought about that. You got to light a fire because I will say the events, whether it's Overdrive, Xenothreat, Save Stanton, I did push myself to get through them because there was a time factor. So you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going to your own dentist and pulling your own teeth out, but yeah,
Yeah.
you push through. Like, well,
Well,
I'm going to be honest, like, it was painful.
it was
It was
painful.
an not enjoyable experience,
Fight
and
for Pyro's
I'm
been
going to be
painful. You
I
know.
think you'll say the last two, the Safe Sand and Safe Pyro, if they stay with that credence, as in it's this painful, people will give up. They won't,
Yeah,
you know.
100%, 100%. So, with this focus on narrative content based off gameplay systems we currently have, and bug fixing, stability, refactors, all that, but no new big features, meaning probably no resource management this year, no base building, stuff like
They
that.
didn't.
They
They
didn't
said
outright.
new features though. They
This, yeah,
I'd also say there's obviously features always been worked in the background. So like we obviously know they're working on scanning,
yeah,
engineering,
yeah,
bounty hunting. There's a whole bunch of them in there. Now it's just how long they're away from the finish line and how
right,
many people they got working them, and do they have everyone that they need to do
yeah,
it to
and
do
there,
it, or do they need to switch someone over just for a little bit to finish it?
yeah, and there is gray area there. For
Yes.
example, resource management was supposed to be very close to mostly done for its first release, so maybe we will see that
Yep.
this year. But I think it is pretty safe to say when Jared says, "Hey, we are working on features, but very slowly in the back and in the background." Well, if CIG is saying very slowly, then expect those to be very slow. Slowly worked on. By the way, Starlet, I see Starlet in chat. Salute to you, Starlet. Hopefully you are resting. Sorry you are not feeling well. But that
Have
means
a sip of water on us. I think that's
yes,
about
have
all
a
should be
sip
able
of
to manage.
hydrate.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
knowing all this, knowing that because some people do come back to the game and start putting
Mm,
into the game based off feature milestones. And in case in point, that was me. I'd been following
mm,
Star Citizen from the Kickstarter, but I didn't really start investing and like becoming active until 3.8 when the first version of persistence came in because that was
yeah.
my feature milestone that I wanted before I got too
Mm,
deep into this. So that
yeah.
matters to people. So if we're not going to have much of that this year, are you expecting a earnings dip this year compared to last?
I think the tracking says a bit different, doesn't it?
Well,
We got
and
2 months already, and both the months we have are already
well,
bigger.
let's
Because we looked at this on my stream earlier,
yeah,
are already bigger than the months prior.
let's switch over. Here we go. I've got it up on the screen real quick here. You're showing right here, and yeah,
If you
we
click
are ahead.
and if you click and drag mouse one, you should be able to zoom in on that bottom right area. You or maybe it's not going to let you on
Let's
yours.
see.
Uh,
No, if it's
Usually it doesn't on mine, but maybe my
weird.
controls are different than yours.
Yeah, it's being a little bit
Or you can
problematic
hold
today.
control and scroll the mouse wheel.
Oops.
Might be the other way to do it.
Let me re-exit this here. Oh yes. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So that can just show the area we're talking about, not the whole damn thing.
Oops. Bear with me. There we go.
You're in as much
Yeah.
trouble as I was, but yeah, I know he's squiffed it a bit, so it's a bit squished. But you
Yeah.
can see there, January is definitely bigger, and February, I would say they are very close to being the same, if not the same.
Yeah.
So you got to also realize we're only halfway through February, and it's already the same size. So that's going to be bigger as well. So I think last year got derailed a lot around engineering. The Galaxy stuff that me and Algrid brought up with Ben.
Yep.
And just some more variants of ships than new ships.
Yeah.
And probably a few other things scrapped in there as well that made people really uneasy, that are the kind of more long-term backers or big spenders, right?
And that's something you brought up today. A lot of like interesting variants, but not like show stealers. You know what I mean? Like which I totally agree with. Yep.
Well, no one's going to remember the Peregrine Took
right.
2 minutes, like
it's those ships like have their week in the sun and then people move on. I agree.
I'm sure there are going to be races out there that'll love those things when the game is all said and done. But expecting people to cough out think it was about $185 or in that ballpark at
Yep.
that time in September, when we were in the lowest of the low before CitizenCon. Like, it's just that, August, September is just a really dry month.
Yep.
You don't get a lot of content, just much like we've just passed January.
Mhm.
January is much the same, but January is 1 month where that's two, so it just drags a little more.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think you'd agree with me. The back half of the year until we get to CitizenCon really drags compared to the front half,
yeah.
even
And
at the same amount of time.
how do you think CIG's current approach to ship sales, and I don't mean necessarily ship selling events like Alien Week, Invictus, ILW, but just general ships that are on sale. Where do you feel like with this year, and even though the numbers are showing against that, they're showing them doing really well so far. Because of the type of year we're going to have with not a lot of big features coming online, do you see them maybe looking for more opportunities to maybe open up the faucets to more just general purchase ships? Like right now, when you go on the website, there's a certain cross section of ships that are always on sale any time of the year. You can buy them. Do you think they will open that up a little bit more, where more ships are available to buy all throughout the year? Oh, and wait a minute. We just got a raid. Yo-Yo Meg just rated with 73 viewers. I think
Just rated him before.
Yeah, Execute
hey,
rated.
Back, let's see you back.
Yo-Yo, I hope you're well. I'm actually going to put up my newest emote right now. I'm going to give you the double salute emote, and that just is on a loop. So you're getting a lot of grim salutes there. I appreciate it, Yo-Yo. Obviously a good friend of the show. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully you had a great stream. Yo-Yo is awesome. Haven't met her.
You're trying to say there's something wrong with your ears or something.
It kind of looks.
She's got awesome hair. It makes me jealous.
It kind of looks like maybe I'm swatting flies or something like that. Yeah. Yes.
Listening. You're trying to listen for something.
Yeah. Yo-Yo is awesome in general. Yo-Yo, I hope you had a great stream. Vic says happy birthday. Is it your birthday? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Yo-Yo, if that's the case.
Yeah, Yo-Yo, happy birthday. I hope you had a great one. Thank you for the raid. Obviously, you are always a great supporter. I try to return the love when I can. Again, hopefully you had a great stream. Welcome to all the Yo-Yo Meg viewers. I'll go ahead and announce the giveaway right now. And did I lose the giveaway? Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. We are giving away an Avenger starter pack. This is the one, the CitizenCon starter pack, which is kind of a nice one. It's the Avenger. The Ironweave paint comes with a full set of the Arden SL Archangel armor. Comes with the P6LR sniper rifle, and again, 24 months insurance and that Ironweave paint, which honestly makes the ship look really awesome. If you're on Twitch, all you got to do is hit exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket and a space max, and it will buy your tickets for you. If you haven't followed the channel before, please give the channel a follow. If you're over on YouTube, as a quick reminder, there's a link at the top of the chat box there in window. You click on that link. That is my Banu Merchantman video, which is probably horribly out of date now, but my Banu Merchantman shipyard video. Just leave a comment on there. Say hello, goodbye, hi. Say that Execute is handsome, whatever you want to say, and we will pull a random comment from that, and we'll take the Twitch winner. We'll put you in a random wheel of names. We'll spin it. Whoever wins gets the starter pack, and whoever comes in second will get a Starjump ship scale poster, physical poster. You do have to be viewing when I call your name. If you're a winner, you have to respond. If not, we go to the next person. So, all right, back to our discussion. Thank you, Yo-Yo. Really appreciate it. We were talking about ship sales. Do you think they're going to open up that grouping of ships that are offered, or do you think that's a good thing to do at this point?
I think they've been opening a bit more for a while now. Like they have a lot more medium sales than they used to. They don't, for example, though, say, okay, let's sell the Endeavor in July. You know, they still keep it to smaller niche ships than just opening the floodgates. There's still that FOMO, but I also think they don't want to annoy older backers that were here for a long period of time and really valued their collection of ships as well.
Oh, and real quick, sorry everyone. Yes, you can enter both on YouTube and Twitch. Obviously, you can only win once though, but yes, you can enter on both. That's fine. Sorry, go ahead, Execute.
That's basically what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well then let's move on to the next thing. I mean, personally, I could see them continuing to open those floodgates again. We have a lot more, and I think that is the case. For example, Sure, new ships that come along that fall into certain categories, I think, are open. If I'm not mistaken, ships like the Cutter, for example, are just open because it's a starter ship, right? I'm
Yep.
assuming all starter ships are always available.
Um, yeah, that's what it appears to be at the moment.
Maybe starters and like starter pluses, like the Cutlass, Freelancer.
Yeah. Well, you can always do it live like I do and just pull it open and have a look on the store.
That's true. Yeah.
Um,
Maybe.
but
Yeah.
most of them appear there. It's when you start to get into the bigger ships. So I almost a feeling like if you can buy it in game, you should be able to buy it off the store. For
Yeah.
example, the C1 Spirit's in game, but you can't buy it on the store.
Right.
Um, things like that. And I don't think you can buy it in game, sorry, but it's available. It's in game, so I think you
Yeah.
should be able to buy it to play it in game. I
And
think that's the credence that I'd like to move towards. So if they
yeah.
bring out something like the Polaris, I think if they don't want that to be limited, you should just be able to buy one because you want one.
Yeah. 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 I think that yeah, I agree. I do agree. Um, let's talk about the next thing then, and that's ship sale events. I mean, I know you know a lot about this because you do full coverage of both IAE and Invictus Launch Week,
Yep.
and you go through every manufacturer day. You go through the ships. One of the things I've always liked about the info runners is shows is that you go through and really look at what your best bang for the buck is, encouraging people to earn down, which again I think is a really smart thing to do. I've really sort of formulated my fleet around that. But the events, do you think
We still get
yeah,
we got kickback today
yeah,
off someone, and I'm like, well, if you don't agree, don't follow. Like, I'm not going to force you to the
yeah?
flame,
I
bro.
mean,
You do you.
it's ultimately the best way to do it, and it's very
Mm.
clear. If you've ever been out on a reclaimer salvage run, you will realize very quickly why earning down is going to be the path of least resistance.
Well, I'd
It,
also say send that
very
same
quickly.
person out on their own in a vulture.
Yeah. Yep.
Go do a mission in the vulture and
Yep.
see what missions are available to you, and then go see the missions that are available to you in a reclaimer. Not to mention the economics of scale as you unlock more quests as well.
Yep.
They're only going to go up and up. But
Yep.
like, just looking at the cargo alone, it's roughly just the cargo count. It's 16 and a bit vultures to one reclaimer, and that's just looking at the cargo. We're
Yep.
not talking about the size of the weapons, the components, or anything else. And that's just one ship. Like, I'm sure we could go into others and there'd be worse and less case scenarios, but that was the first one that came along where we went, all right, we now got a precedent that what we were talking about and speculating on is more likely fact, and it
Yep.
is, as time's going on, it's becoming quite factual.
Let me jump in here real quick. So someone on Twitch, Alaki75, first time chatter, makes a comment here. Says, "Ain't no way Star Citizen made more profit this January, February than last year, and its current reputation, it's literally on fire." Let me ask you that, because looking at it is kind of interesting that it is doing so much better. As someone who follows all the sales and knows what's going on to that degree, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's currently trending? Do you think this is people coming off all the CitizenCon announcements? Which, let's be honest, CitizenCon was big last year.
You can see it there where it turned around. It was
Yeah,
December.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah.
So look back at what happened at December.
Mm-hmm.
End of November, you've got the Polaris dropping.
Yep,
You've got the Guardian, and you've got the fact that they
right
actually
here.
released 4.0.
Yeah, right here is when they
Right?
started
There
changing.
was a lot of positives there, but if you go back to the small month, it was CitizenCon.
Yeah,
Something happened at CitizenCon. Now, I'm not going to blame myself or take any credit for that, but there were a few things that went wrong there. Like, people were terrified of engineering for a time,
yeah.
right? That the thing with the Galaxy that happened
It was
there,
a bit of a
and
gut
probably
punch
other
for people.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so there were a couple of gut punches, but they turned it around a month later at the end of AIE, and I think that's just carried through. And ironically, people that didn't pick up ships at say IAE, they might have picked them up in the last chance sale in January.
mm-hmm.
You've also had the Misfortune drop a brand new ship for February, and you've also got another new well, I'll call it a variant. I don't think it's really a new ship. It's a Mark II. Um, You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so you've got some new things there that are obviously pumping the dollar a little bit. And we did say, like, I think you and I talked several times over the
Yeah.
end of last year about there are so many new ships. What the hell are they going to do with all these?
Yeah.
And me and Paul, and I think I even passed on to you at one point where we're speculating where they may spread them out between now and Invictus and try and get back to that old credence of one a month.
Yeah. Thank you. I suck at this. I appreciate the follow. Yeah.
At
No,
least he's honest about your
hey,
content.
he's honest. So he's putting words in my mouth. Thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Um, yeah. I mean, again, they lean on not only their, in case you missed it,
Mm,
sales, but I notice, I think it's the beginning of every year too. I also get another concierge email saying, "Hey, buy all this crap again." So
mm.
yeah, I agree. Again, remember too that it's CitizenCon. It's those silhouette videos they show, by the way, which we all really enjoy with the silhouette videos of all the ships and stuff. We like to pick them apart and stuff. They're also
Mm.
pretty. Those are kind of strategic videos, right? That shows you what to expect and what you
You
should
know,
probably invest in, even though they're not
you
guaranteed.
know,
Yeah.
the line I'm going to use. It's just enough rope to hang ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Um, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult. And it's you get these people that like will savagely disagree with you on when you say something about it. And I don't think that's the way to take it. I'm the way is in take in everyone's opinion and kind of null it out. Like that's what speculation is. It's bouncing, it's brainstorming.
Yeah.
You're essentially trying to see if anything shakes out. And sometimes you get some really cool ideas that fall out that never come to pass,
Right.
but they're still cool to talk about. And
Absolutely.
when we're in a game where there's not a lot of game, that's a fun part. I think SA, one of the military guys, he always says like we've only, and this was a couple of years ago, he said this, we've only got speculation to do right now, and he enjoys it. And I
Yeah.
think that is a
I
cool
mean,
part to at least dream about this game that we're going to have.
well, look, I mean, I've seen people, content creators, all kinds of people, show frustration at, for example, fleet picks, right? But for
Hmm.
me, I've always been like, well, that's the only way a lot of us can enjoy some of the stuff we spent money
Mm,
on is this like meta thing. You know what I mean? Where it's not really in the game.
mm,
And so that's the only way we can sort of picture things and sort of
yeah,
visualize what we've spent or what we've invested in this game.
yeah.
And so I think you can't discount any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think a part of it though is I don't like it when other people get frustrated how other people enjoy things. So
Yeah.
if you're frustrated at the game, don't take it out on Fred who likes to speculate or whatever
Right.
because
Right.
he's at least enjoying himself. And me and Argot have always enjoyed it, and yeah, not everyone does enjoy it, but one of the things we're always trying to do is just try and get to push people to think outside the box and think about what the game could be.
Yep.
And it's not always going to be accurate. Um, but we've heard from CIG devs that some of the things we speculate on, and others, mind you, have actually made it into ship ideas. So
Right.
you put a post up on Spectrum and a dev sees it, you might be surprised if
You
that
might.
feature doesn't come along. And I've heard
Absolutely.
people have said that I put this on Spectrum and they changed it.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean, case in point, here's a great. I mean, they just had the ISC the other day, which was all about the kind of events coming, the narrative
mm,
content coming this year, and they dropped this in there. Where they showed off several different things. They showed off the Star Kitten kind of racing gear.
mhm,
They showed off a Star Kitten livery for the Pulse,
yep.
or maybe it's a unique variant. We don't know. And then obviously this guy over here, which is if we
Zoom and
enhance
enhance.
with our CIA technology, is
I
very
think I sent you.
clearly,
Did I send it to you or just to a few other hundred people? I had fries eyes, like going, like
um, the Perseus. I
squint.
mean,
Yeah.
this is no accident, but I think this ties in with
Do,
the with
do you remember?
yeah.
Do you remember what happened last year about this time? Because that's how the Polaris
That's how
came.
the Polaris was teased. Yeah, for what they
I,
show it in,
I,
I forget what video it was showed in, but they did show it in a
yeah.
video.
That'll happen like this. I think that lends credence to this is coming like the Polaris came last year. I still think this is AIE. I think this is too soon to come at anything but IAE.
Mm.
But that said, I don't have to kind of put my money where my mouth is because give it time, like the Polaris, they'll tell us about it.
Yeah,
The Polaris, they basically said, oh, you'll get to see the exterior at Invictus and then the full thing will come at AIE. And
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear something I don't know if we'll hear exactly that, but we'll hear when it's coming. I think
Well,
they know that this is a hotly impatiented chip.
well, I'm going to switch back over to this earnings thing here. So
Like you're
we're
copying my show. No.
I told you it's a good. I was watching your show
Yeah.
with anticipation today because I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's a great lead on. But
Mm,
as you can see here from these big group, the big block here for Invictus launch week, and then the big blocks back here, and there's kind of two of them, one for CitizenCon, one for
mm,
IAE. Invictus is very, very important. It's very, very important for their momentum for the year. If you have a
mm,
really terrible Invictus, then that means everything after that is catching up to make up for whatever went wrong there. And I think CIG, here's my prediction for Invictus. And I wanted to talk a little bit about ship sale events and how important they are to the funding. And if you think there's any changes that can be made to these events, I actually do think, well, last IAE, they released more flight ready ships than they had in a long time, I think, for an
mm.
IAE. And I'm wondering if this Invictus, we're going to have the same sort of thing where we get a lot of flight ready ships. Obviously, you talked about them a little bit on your stream today. A couple combat focused ships. We have the Paladin we know is in production, Starlancer TAC that's in production, and the Perseus that's in production.
I've
Any
just
one of
realized
those
something
could
is.
be Invictus launch week. Hell, even the Ironclad Assault could technically be Drake Defense Con Day, which is during ILW.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's a
Yep.
lot of options there. The only problem is they're all kind of big ships.
Mm. So,
So,
so I was just sitting here, kind of watching and noticing a couple of things while I was listening to you,
yeah.
and I remember them talking about there being 10 story-based patches, or but you also
Mm,
add IE and Invictus, that's 12. Um,
yeah.
I have traditionally had Invictus and AIE, but if you have an event going on and continuing to going on non-stop every month, look at that for sales.
Right.
So, like, we theorized for a long time, like, well, if you've got Invictus and AIE, the natural thing would be to have two at the other 3 month points, right? So you've got one every 3 months, every quarter.
Every
But what
quarter.
if they've gone to something? What if they've gone to one where it's literally every event there's a ship?
I could totally see that. Yeah.
That would up sales significantly.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you'd also have Invictus, and you would have AIE as well. I don't know. I don't know if that's where I'm going. I just wanted to toss that idea because it just came into my head as I was thinking of it.
Well,
If you're literally doing a ship per month, that's a huge momentum. But they have the people now to do that on the ship team.
right. Well,
And
I mean, if
you,
you
you,
look,
you saw the blue silhouette video.
yep,
There was some big ships on that thing.
sure.
Like that's a lot of ships to
Oh, yeah.
crank out. And if they so essentially you're talking like 16 ships, and they made 16 last year.
Yeah.
So if you've got 3 at each of the big events and then 1 per month,
Yeah.
there's everyone
And
that you need.
there's ships that weren't in that silhouette video, a la the Paladin is
Yes.
one of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think too. I mean, again, every time an event comes out, and this has happened with Fight for Pyro, if
Mm.
you go to the Fight for Pyro transmission page, there's a whole bunch of ships you can buy to celebrate the release of Fight for Pyro. So
Yep.
in a way, these narrative content drops become monetization
Mm.
efforts because ship sales
Yep.
go along with them. You know what I
Well,
mean?
it drives them too, because like say next month, and I
Yep.
don't know what the event is next month or anything, but let's say it's mining based, all the mining ships come out. Oh, I don't have a
Well,
mining ship.
well, that makes me wonder
Boom.
if, and one of my big concerns, honestly, with the whole narrative event thing is that, oh God, we're going to just have bunker after combat fight. But I honestly am starting to think that we might get some events that are more themed around industry and cargo and stuff like that.
Disco explained that they would improve with the thing. So as it goes along, as the bugs are fixed, the quests will get better and better as well. He did kind of
For
say that.
those,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I think that's a good thing. Maybe you and I could do this in, end of the year, come back and look at Save Pyro or Save Stanton and
Yeah.
go, what improved over that to the last one that comes at the end of the year.
Yeah. So in terms of ship sale events, then this will be kind of a bit of a different year for them with a patch coming almost every month, still having our 2 big ship sale events with ILW and CitizenCon IAE, which I'm kind of putting together. It actually ends up there's going to be a lot more leaning on the selling of ships. whether they're new ships or old ships. What will kind of be interesting to me is if we see, and this is something I plan on tracking this year with the ship team having grown to the size it has now, which I learned through you when you made those John Cruz shirts that went out to the team. I really
I wrote
do,
earlier.
yeah, I really do wonder if we're going to see more flight ready ships come out, or if we're going or in a few concept ships, or are we going to see a lot of concept ships as well? Because, for example, if they have for an event, let's say it's Invictus launch week, let's say they are, let's go super hopium for a minute, okay? And everyone in chat, I
Mhm.
know I'm talking crazy right now, but let's say they have the Perseus ready, flight ready. Let's say the Ironclads are ready, okay? Let's say those 3 ships are ready, and maybe a ground vehicle, right? Let's say they have 4 ships ready to go, essentially. And then they do one concept thing. I think that would be fine. Again, it shows that they're putting out ships versus resting on concepts, because there's been years past where multiple concepts have come out during an event, right?
Mm.
Am I wrong on that? I remember events where it would be like 2 or
Um,
even so concept ships that were
so,
talked
so,
about, and then
so
1 flight ready, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah, so the credence really is 3 per event, and so when I say Invictus, I mean event, and the Expo, I mean an event.
Yeah.
So, the typical credence, and they can break this and sometimes go to 4, but it's usually 3.
Yeah.
So, what I inspected Invictus this year, which is the same as the last couple of years, is you essentially get 3. They depend on what they are. So, for example, say we got an alien ship, it would
Thank you, Liquid.
have a gap after Invictus, and then you would have Alien Week. So that comes at Alien Week. So, but you'd probably like last year. What was the shittiest year? We got the Lynx, the Fury, and there was some other thing, and that was probably the worst Invictus we've ever had.
Yeah.
But we got 3, and they were just 3 really small things, and I can't remember the other vehicle to save my life right now. But someone in chat will yell at me.
Yeah.
It was the Link. It was 2 vehicles and the Fury, and so
Yeah.
there was technically no ship because it's a snub,
Yeah.
as in like it's got no warp drive. I don't know. Someone might remember. It was the same time the Lynx came out. This is like 2 years ago now. So I've
Yeah.
forgotten.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know you feel differently. I really think the Ironclads and the Perseus could be ready by Invictus launch week, or at least the Perseus. I think the Perseus could be flight ready by then.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's the Ironclad.
That's flight ready for. Yeah, I mean, I do think the Ironclad's actually been in active production for quite a while.
So I'll tell you a couple of things just to keep in your back pocket,
Yeah.
and these are not things that we're allowed to share and stuff. They told us the pipeline takes 18 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't go, okay, this ship requires 4 people, so we'll put 8 on it and it doubles the speed. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes 18 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if
because that probably encompasses a lot of their review process and how things get, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just speed it up. It's not like you put your foot to the metal and it increases in speed. Like it's got to have checks and balances and all that type of thing. It's like cutting red tape at the council or wherever you are, right? So basically, we know the Ironclad went in development before CitizenCon last year, or sorry, not last year, but the year before. So that's 12 months. We're now coming add another 6 months. That would get us to Invictus. So that's 18 months. So that is entirely possible. But then you take the Ironclad Assault, it has the fabricator stuff on it. So that's more like base building and repair and stuff like that. That's not in yet. So I think if you were going to get anything, it would be the Ironclad. Remember, we don't have the Marquee Mark, and they held off on that. It's still not out. But we got the Spirit, the Marquee Mark, sorry, the CL and the
Zeus MR.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Zeus CL and the Zeus ES.
Yeah.
When I say MR, Zeus MR, I mean Marquee Mark. That's just my.
Yeah.
They called it Mark twice. They're going to get called the Marquee Mark by an Australian. That's just.
I mean, obviously they're probably.
In.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're probably holding that back for bounty hunting.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of look at that, and the fabrication stuff is just not there yet. It's just not ready. But the Ironclad, there's no reason you can't use that. It's essentially just a cargo ship that has medium vehicles go in and off it. Totally fine.
You think we'll
got that already?
You think we'll get both variants?
No, that's what I'm saying. The Assault, the Ironclad Assault, doesn't have the fabrication stuff.
Right.
Much like the Marquee Mark, because there's no reason you couldn't bring the Marquee Mark out right now and just have it as a QED ship that shoots guns.
Do you think
But
they're
they don't want to release it because the bounty hunting
do you
pods.
think they're trying to avoid doing what they did with the Carrack, where they release a ship where parts of it are not functionable?
I'd add the reclaimer to that and say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They learnt so much as they've gone along. Look at all the ships that they're going to have to go back and fix up now.
Yeah.
890 Jump, 600i,
Yeah.
Carrack's been a work in progress, Reclaimer.
Yeah.
They've been learning on their feet as they've been going. And as they learn more and more things, they're learning what mistakes not to make because people get bitchy. I don't know how else to put that, right?
Yeah.
You guys in chat know as well as me and Graham, there is a lot of people out there that are just, how do I say this politely? I'll say it in a really way that no one will guess who I'm talking about. Salty.
Oh yeah. 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 For sure.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Let's talk about the next thing then, and this is kind of semi-related to ships and ship events, but I want to talk about this one, and this one I've always been really split on. I'm personally, and I had to learn the hard way, but I'm kind of against them, and that is ship packs, packages of ships. Um, what do you think about them? Do you think CIG should allow them to be broken apart after purchase?
I think they should customize them so you can
Yep.
actually like add multiple ships together and just get a discount based on how much
Yeah.
you've spent, like at a certain percentage.
Yep.
I don't think they realistically know how to build packs. That could be the argument. The argument is they know how to build packs that
Yeah.
you don't get good value for,
Right.
right? The other thing is there's only been twice in any fixed mode fleets. Algrid said it, and I just dismissed him. Like, dude, there's no way you could totally make a pack valuable.
Yeah.
And he proved me wrong twice,
Okay.
right? So, and they were only with extremely like people that had spent way too much money. I'm talking like 20 grand plus type of people
Okay.
that have spent way too much amounts of money and they'd forgotten to get LTI.
Right.
And so you roll it back into a pack so all those ships can get LTI and then rebuild them all back up to where they wanted to go and they have LTI or something like that.
Yep.
They're the only times we've found. Because the only other way to do it is to rebuild from scratch and play the F5 war, and that's just too much of a gamble with people that don't know what they're doing to begin with.
The other thing I hear a lot too when it comes to packs is, and I always try to suggest people don't do this, but I've heard a lot of people that have the funds to do it. They desperately want the Idris M, so they have to get the pack to get it. And I'm always like, well, if anything from last year's CitizenCon showed us is that you're more than likely going to be able to grind up to get the blueprints for the M Idris. It's going to be a nightmare, but you're going to be able to do it.
I will predict this now, and I've said it to Argrid, and we haven't really talked about it at length, but we are predicting that there will be another Kraken variant. Because if you think about it, if you're an org and you've just got a ship, that's stagnant. But if you've got a ship that you can upgrade and work into, you're motivated.
Yeah, right? I mean, I'm not saying this is... I'll say right now, I think the Kraken Hospital variant, you know, there's the Hope Endeavor. A Kraken Hospital variant is actually one of the best variants of that ship you could imagine because of those landing pads.
I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
You know what I mean?
There's a couple of different variants I can see in there. But like, again, you look at the Idris, you can take the default Idris, go to the P, go from the P to the K, and from the K to the M, and customize with all the kits that you've got in between to build it exactly as you wanted to build it. And I think that's probably what the privateer needs, is probably somewhere, I'm going to be honest, I think it needs to be a little bit below the privateer and probably one above the privateer.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see one that kind of
is a big jump too, and it's like $400 or $500 for that. I think
$350 if you buy the kit. Yeah. You know, that's to put that on par. That's an endeavor at the moment on its own.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get a pretty substantial ship for $350. That's a big jump. And when I look at the two on paper, when I look at the two on paper, I don't personally see that level of value increase. However, we also don't have a really good understanding of just how good marketplace, NPC driven marketplace gameplay is going to be. Maybe it's you know, your lordship, thank you for the salute. I love saying your name too, by the way, your lordship. Appreciate that. But again, we don't know. We don't know your lordship. We don't know what that's going to look like. So, I mean, maybe it is worth it ultimately, but
we don't know what the rep grind's going to be either, but you've got to assume the bigger the dollar amount to buy it, the longer the rep grind. So like we've often treated modules for the Endeavor, like fighters, because they were, a lot of them were $50 to $100, but there are ones that go up to like $150, and you start to go, oh, maybe they are worth looking at. But something like the Privateer kit, if you could buy the kit and have it separate and just have the pieces and apply them whenever you want, have the best of both ships, that would be awesome. But they want you to apply the kit, and then you'd have to take the Privateer and go back to the Kraken.
It's a permanent application too, by the way, folks. If you do buy it and apply it, it's permanent until you're in game and can do the conversion at a shipyard. So the best thing to do is to buy it and have the kit, but don't apply it yet. Maybe just hold on to them separately.
Well, I've got one in buyback. Look, I kind of want to have the Kraken and just have access to the Privateer, but I don't really want the Privateer. Because let's be honest, when the game comes out from the gate, you're probably going to want to be collecting resources, and the Kraken's going to be an absolute boon for that at the start.
Oh yeah. Well,
but again, I'm not saying that's exactly what they will do with the Kraken. But if you look at it, I'd be really surprised. Like, we'll put it this way. Excuse me. Say they brought out the Kraken in 2-3 years' time, I would be really surprised if it's not with a sale for a new variant.
Yeah, I agree. Because and some people don't know this, but us big Kraken fans do know this. The Privateer was not revealed alongside the original Kraken. It was a year later, I believe, that they revealed the Kraken revealed the Kraken Privateer in 2019. I think the Kraken was 2018, if I remember correctly.
And I reckon a lot of those real end game org ships. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen any Javelin variants yet, but I think eventually we will.
Well, to be fair, we did hear John Crew re-say, what was it, last year or the year before that, Sysiccon, that they are still planning modules for the Javelin. That is still a thing. So, yeah.
Well, see, different ships do it in a different way. The Javelin can just do it as modules. It doesn't actually have to do variants.
Right.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the Kraken is a ship that I wish had modules, but at the same time, I worry about the modular ships too, because I feel like CIG just still hasn't tackled them in a big way, other than the Retaliator.
Well, it depends how they approach it, because like just with the Privateer, putting different shops in it changes how it works. Yeah. One day I'm a gun runner, the next day I'm, a seller of fine wares and established merchantman, and then the next day I'm a drug runner. You can.
In what CIG, but what CIG has shown us with selling things and how you're going to be able to maglock stuff, there's going to be people that turn their Krakens into stores. And now that's different than the Privateer, because the Privateer is NPC-driven stores, which could be a good passive form of income.
Yeah, but you'd be able to use your own stores as well.
But you could,
yeah.
So
it's essentially a mini space station before the space station. That was the first thing that we when it came up, I leaned over to Aaron and said, "Well, there's the first thing that treads on the Privateer."
Well, you brought up the Privateer kit though, and that led me to think. Were you surprised, again talking about monetization? Were you surprised that CIG came out with a Heartseeker kit that could be applied to any Mark II, essentially?
So you're asking me to give my review away like everyone in chat earlier this morning, right?
And I know you probably have a show coming up about this, but
we're going to do a supplemental.
Yeah. But do you think were you surprised by that? I guess I'd say.
So there's some positives and negatives to it. So the positive is they learned from previous kind of kits like the Saber Comet and things like that, where it didn't come with a bespoke gun and it was just a skin, so it was almost 3 times the price it needed to be. Because I'm sorry, guns don't mean shit if you can get them in game. So this turret is now bespoke, but here's the next thing they learned: it's not just a turret; it's also the best turret. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially like you've now got to pay $30 to get the best turret in the game for the Super Hornet. And then on top of that, they slap an exclusive skin. So it is but here's the thing: the last Heartseeker was $15. This is $30.
Yeah.
So they've prepped.
Let me posit something here. So I hit up Ender, because he had gotten one of the Super Hornets. I hit him up and I said, "So can the pilot control?" Because I never really flew the first Super Hornet very much, if at all. Mm. And I said, can the pilot control the turret if the second passenger's not in?" He's like, "Yeah, you can." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And that got me to thinking, how would you feel if they sold a kit, for example, for the Scorpius that allowed the turret to be fired by the pilot? Obviously, it's firing straight ahead. But what if there was a kit, an upgrade kit that allowed you to do that?
That'll essentially all be possible once the MFD system comes in. You'll be able to configure the guns any way you want. At the moment, the guns
Right.
are pre-configured by the devs, and they can only be configured one way. Eventually, they'll be fully customizable.
By the way, Bubblegum Ronan says X is wearing the exclusive Heartseeker headphones. He is. He's shilling for Robert Space Industry.
I've had so many people reach out and want to buy these off me. It's ridiculous. If anyone's got another pair, I need to get another one because the headband's starting to go.
You are rocking some nice red wares. I'm all black tonight, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'll make it. Here, look, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Those are nice too, actually. So yeah, there are the AI the blades that you're supposed to get into computer systems. I did an entire show where I talked about the computer systems that will eventually come to ships and how important those are, and how that's really going to change ship balance. For example, you only have to look at, like, I think the Kraken, for example, has 3 computers, but the MSR has 5. You're going to really start to see those differences there. But I just thought it was interesting that they released this kit. Not that they haven't released kits like this before, but it made me wonder. It kind of reminded me of, like, oh, you know what? Maybe CIG is going to get a little creative with how they market certain things this year, because maybe they could be concerned about possible earnings with no big features coming online.
Look, you've been here long enough to know. I say it all the time. The only consistent thing they do is be inconsistent.
Yes.
They are always trying new things. They like no matter whether you love the Cutlass Steel or hate it. That was clearly a test to see how far they could push things, and it failed.
Yes.
They push the prices of things like snubs, like Furies and stuff like that, and bikes and vehicles, and look, at the end of the day, no matter how they go about it, we can feel ripped off, but by the same token, we do want the game to succeed. So it is a double-edged sword. There is no perfect way to do this. I don't know kind of how to say it any more eloquently. I just wish it was a bit more, how do I put this? Like when what me and Paul set out to do with other people when that the Ship Showdown was on that year with the MPUV was to show them that they can make a shit ton of killing of money on volume.
Yeah.
They learned it, and then the guy quit, and now they've forgotten it. So we're going to do it again this year. We are, and they'll probably be watching this going, "Oh shit, back!" But that's the plan, because they need to learn, and I want them to remember this, because they don't need to go ridiculous on pricing. They need to be passionate over profit. Right? We are just as passionate as they are. And if you give us something good, we will not only buy it, we'll probably buy it en masse. Like, if you'd brought those Atlases out at, let's just say, half the price of what they were, right? Let's just say $15. I would have brought 2.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe 3.
And don't get me started on a combat variant of that. I mean...
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I think we'll be drip-fed Titan suits. That's a given.
Yeah. Let's move along now. I want to kind of move to the next kind of phase.
Who said that in chat? I can't quite read. It's all for me. He said, "No more Rock DS bullshit." Absolutely. That said, we did ask them about the Rock DS, and they are going to make it an enclosed cab, so it actually gives it a reason to exist.
For those that don't know what Execute's referencing, him and Algrid, when they were at CitizenCon last year, had a lunch with John Crew and Ben Curtis. Obviously, John Crew, director of the vehicle team, and Ben Curtis, art director of that team, and I believe weapons too. I think Ben's also in charge of weapons, or art director on weapons, or whatever.
When you talk to Ben now, ask him if we still got the photo that he got a copy of that we gave to John. He'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Has he told you about that or not?
No, he hasn't. No.
Ask him what the photo is that we gave him and see what he says. You'll have a good chuckle.
The last time I talked to Ben Curtis, not too long ago, it was about how many ships they pushed through the pipeline. Because I'd sent him the updated. I sent him and John the all ships poster, but I took all the branding off and sent it to him as a blank, so that they could do their own.
They on the wall, didn't they?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he painted
the
wall.
Image, and then it panned up and the real thing on the wall.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you, Westbrook.
It would have been really cool if you could have sent him a bit of money to put in a frame. We put our photos in frames. That's because we were there.
So let's go to the next phase here, which is future monetization, like what that strategy looks like. And there's a lot of things we can talk. I'll just list a couple of them here, and then we can kind of jump around, execute on what you think. There's everything from blueprints possibly being sellable, land parcels,
Yep.
maybe industrial rights to certain areas or systems, building skins and decor, subscriptions to play the game. That's a big one, obviously, people talk about. Expanded universe content, expanding their
Mm,
physical merch line, stuff like that. I think personally, this comes down to there's two roads here. One is, are they going to ever do a subscription model for the game? And if they are, that's one path. And if they don't, then there's another path that opens up all these other things. Now, I'll just say real quick, now this is a couple years ago, and I do think major things have changed, but I heard a couple years ago from some internal dialogue that CIG had major plans for subscriptions. Now, I don't know if that was subscriptions for the game or just their current subscriptions that they do for content, which are kind of lackluster. But what I was told with this is that there was going to be major changes coming to that, and there were going to be um, real benefits to that, to subscriptions that
mm.
played into different things. But that means, let's start there. Do you think Star Citizen needs a subscription model like other games have in the past, or do you think it needs to remain free outside of a starter pack?
Um, I don't think it really needs it yet,
Yeah.
but it should always be a possible fallback. My hope for this game has always been that it is not free to play, because when you have free to play games, they bring people in that don't give a shit,
Mm.
right? And when you've had people that are really passionate and brought all these ships and stuff, you cannot treat all your players with the same brush. If you have a pool of free to play players and people that have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases, you cannot carry those people as the same as the same group,
Mm-hmm.
because clearly the free group are just not, they're not invested, they're not going to give a shit. A really good example of that is games like League of Legends, Marvel Rivals that we're seeing now, and things like that. You get people that really get invested in the competitive scene, and then you get people that only play on the weekend, and they'll just never ever reach the skill of a competitive player. Now,
Mm.
that's a competitive game, and I'm not saying that's exactly what Star Citizen is, but you get my point,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
By the same token, I don't like you only focusing on one player base for monetization. So right now, only people that buy ships essentially um, would be funding the game. And if they keep doing that in the future, it would only be people buying the new ships that fund the game. I think selling things like skins and that is good as well. So essentially, I think my answer to this is as many as broad as possible at different price points.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can essentially pay what you afford and not have it so um there isn't something out of reach if you really want to get to it. But by the same token, if you can afford to pay more, you're going to fade to pay more. But I don't think you should pay nothing. So I would hope that the game kind of sits always at $60 or $70 or whatever it ends up being, because
Yeah.
that's a gate that you just stops you from jumping in and causing chaos. Well, look at all the shit we have go wrong now, right? Can you imagine what they'd be like with free to play players?
Right. Yeah. Well, we do see that
Ad
sometimes with those
randoming,
free flies and stuff.
currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just chaos, right? And they are the worst times because our community goes to shit. And quite honestly, that's just people coming in causing chaos. But if you have that when a game is fully released and there's a bit of a paywall, they're not going to do that, right? And so that's what I'm talking about. I just want there to be a little paywall so people give a little bit of a shit.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the other part of this, we all know the game's got to be keep the lights on and all that type of thing. But I don't think 5% of the audience. This is literally what the stat is, by the way. 5% of the audience in some of those free to pay games pay for everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair.
Right.
And that is exploited. Not all these people are rich. A lot of them are proved to have mental illnesses, and you get kleptomaniacs that like they buy one skin and they're going to buy every skin. You know,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. There are mental conditions out there that cause this, and I think much like gambling, like the loot box thing that kind of it's starting to
Yeah.
disappear, or we're not seeing it as much. Um, I don't agree with a lot of that because it really exploits people, especially when they were telling them at kids that like, and then oh, it's not
Sure.
gambling, it's what did EA call it? It was it wasn't, they didn't call it loot boxes, they called it random chance boxes or something. It was just like, well,
Yeah.
that's literally gambling.
Oh, one second
Um,
here. What just happened here? Oh, was someone stand by? Stand by. Rage just gave out 5 community subs. Rage, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You just allowed us to hit the sub goal. Appreciate it. Salute to you.
oh,
Hope you are well.
I didn't, you didn't.
Yeah. Let me get. I gotta get my double salute emoji
Yeah.
up for that. Appreciate it, Rage. Thank you very much. Thank you for that support. It goes a long way. It allows us to continue to make Starjump content. Some of our stuff does cost money to make because it relies on 3D rendering. So really appreciate that. So
See, see, there's some good suggestions in there in chat. I can't quite read it, but
Yeah.
someone said game. I think it was Guild Wars 2 has a perfect model. There are some games out there that have really fair payment models, and that is the way of the future. I also think some games, how do I put this? When you like Marvel Rivals, for example, a skin in Marvel Rivals can be up to $20 in Australian dollars, so that's what 15 American. That's too expensive by the same token, right?
Yeah.
You want to have good, cheaper products that encourages everyone to spend, and not just the top end of town that has everything.
Yeah.
Right. So over time, you will make more and more. But the reason they don't like to do that, that means it's more work because they're going to make more skins. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, as far as I do, skins are not hard to make, and with the way Star Citizen's got data forge, they're even easier.
Yeah.
So they can, you know, what I'm hoping they'll go towards is literally selling patterns, not colors. Right.
Yeah.
So we know they've got the decal system. So you want a red ship, you can have a red ship, but do you want a red ship that's in a camo where you'll have to buy the camo or potentially earn the camo in game or something like that? You know, that's where I hope they go.
Yeah.
And we do have a little precedent for that with the food restaurant ships. Like I think they had Lin or Lim, you know, the food.
Oh
the
yeah. Yep.
Food noodle ship, and they had all these skins. You could have different ships as like a takeaway Lim vendor, and that was just one of the ones they showed. This was one of the brand episodes they showed off a couple of years ago, right? So again, you would, you know, I don't know if that includes the red and blue paint, but essentially you were able to put that skin on any ship in the game, and you were able to go out as a Lin driver.
And all those are potential rep grinds as well, and which bring gameplay and whatnot. I mean, I think for me, I've always enjoyed games that had subscription models. To be honest with you, I do feel like there is a little bit of a.
I'll go the other way then. Why can't you have both? If you don't pay, because the other one was KOTOR. KOTOR, you could pay for a subscription, or you could just pay for what you wanted.
Yeah.
Again, what, and I think that's the better way for Star Citizen to go. Let's be honest, because one of the things we talk about all the time is control mechanisms in this game. The more control systems you have, the more people can play.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why controllers are annoying, you can't customize your controllers. You've got 15 different control schemes you can pick, but you can't do it exactly what you want.
I wonder too, like, I know this takes away from the realism, but in, you games like WoW and stuff, I think you can do the free trial up to like level 10 or level 20, something like that. But like in Star Citizen, while there aren't levels, I could see there being a thing where maybe you can do a trial, but you're limited to, maybe it's just to Stanton and you can only stay in that system and try some things out.
Absolutely.
I don't know. And then you as a player would know that, oh, okay, when I go into Stanton, I may deal with some kind of chaos.
You can only be another person's crew member.
See? Hey, there you go. That can be cool. Hey, I've joked about the crew. I've joked about the crew buy-in pack before that comes with no ship. It just comes with an undersuit and a helmet, and that's it.
Yeah, the janitor's closet pack.
And a backpack for you to carry your crap. Yeah, I mean,
it comes with a bucket full of money. You don't get your money in your case, you like buckets of money. Yeah.
So, okay, we talked a little bit about subscriptions. Let's talk about some of this other stuff. One of the things they showed off when we saw base building was I thought it was very interesting that they showed this off. They actually showed it off in 2 places. One, they showed off the ability to customize the color of your bases and even put decals on them. We saw that with space stations as well. And then they went a step further with that when they showed off org and player tools, where they show some org level ability to have a color template for your org and possibly a logo, right, that could be put on anything. They've gotten shit in the past about where's the paint system for ships, where's the paint system for ships. So I thought it was kind of interesting that they showed that, because it was like, why open that can of worms again? And I partially was wondering if they showed it because paint system is maybe coming sooner than we think. TM, I don't know.
I think it's a bit like the whole analogy of they didn't want to go back and do things all the time. They'd be forever going back and adding things, ships into it to make it work, and make it where you could just go through and do one pass and get them all in.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of that. But I think they're missing a real opportunity. Now, I don't want to be sexist here, but I know as well as you do, the more feminine among us, as in our better half, so to speak, they like to customize things. They like fashion.
Mm-hmm.
They are far more inclined to hang around the base and design and craft and lay out things than them of their male counterparts. So I would like that to see come sooner rather than later, because I know people that would get into this game just based on that alone. I know there's several ladies I know that play Ark a lot, and they are very interested when I've told them about how you'll be able to customize your home and that in Star Citizen.
Yeah, Yacht Club
the ship.
Yacht Club's done some episodes where they've had all female guests on, and that was actually a subject that came up, and there was definitely a desire there. So.
Yeah, I've heard things from Buster the Destroyer that she's heard from CIG devs that like they've actually done massive passes of fashion, like full on female dresses and gamma clothing and all that. So they've concepted out a whole bunch of stuff for down the line that is going to be tailored at the other half of the player base, so to speak. I think that's a good thing.
Do you think, in sticking with this idea of base building and stuff, obviously we know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but again, just thinking up possibilities for future monetization. Let's say if they don't go the subscription model, right? They want to stick with ship sales and flare sales and paint sales and stuff like that. Could you see a future where maybe one of the things that is a microtransaction are like industrial rights or mining rights or salvage rights to certain areas, or do you think they'll try to keep that in the game? And one of the reasons I'm thinking this is they've told us about this whole pyro PvP mini game that's going to happen that allows you to build bases and stuff based off what power structure is currently going on. Do you think
very slippery slope
land claim? And I include land claims in this, which we know they've sold in the past, but now they're not anymore. So what do you think the future there is?
I don't think any monetization be tied to any form of gameplay. Period.
Yeah.
Subscription,
I'd agree with that.
skins, cosmetics, all that is totally fine. There's some slippery slopes I've seen in game. Like I've got a friend of mine that's a streamer here in Australia called the Spud Hunter, right? Now we don't play the same type of games, but we do cross over a little bit in extraction shooters. Like we play Hunt. Me and him got on and played some, and he's way bigger than I am, by the way. He's like, he'll stream to 1,000 people, things like that. But there was a game that he was looking at the other night, and one of the things they had in the game was there was a medium backpack. Now, normally, defaultly, you start with a low-level backpack, but you can find them in the world. You can find a medium or a heavy backpack.
Yeah.
But if you brought this medium backpack, you were able to equip it every time.
Okay.
Now, so there's only 8 slots in a heavy backpack. I think it was like 6, 4, 2 or something like that. So most people would have like the 4 or the 2, but you could take the 6. And it's or whatever it was. You get where I'm going anyway, right? It was just this slight little advantage, but that's technically pay to win. And I would not agree with that. I would be like, you can get a unicorn colored bamboo butterfly looking backpack. I've got no problem with that.
Now,
but it should say exactly the same as the default.
Now, some people are going to counter you, and they're going to say, and I disagree with this because I've talked about this multiple times, that the size of your ship is not the end game in Star Citizen. But there's going to be people that counter and say, well, when I buy when I buy a reclaimer, that's pay to win over me earning one in game. And my thought behind that was always that the ship itself is not the end game in Star Citizen, in my opinion. All the ship does is unlock economies of scale, but not every economy of scale is going to be an economy of scale that you want to play in.
Well, a really big Kraken is going to be really slow for me to do on my own. I'm going to need other people to play with,
Right.
right? So by that analogy, the bigger a ship becomes, it's not exactly it doesn't exactly scale perfectly up.
Yeah.
You've got to have other people to play with, but also it requires more. You know as well as I do, anything in a group is more complicated than doing it alone. So it
Yeah.
requires teamwork, and so for that extra work, balances out to extra. What is it? Risk versus reward.
Yeah. Do you think go back over to oops, sorry, let me go back to my notes here. Do you
Hey,
think
Sandgroper.
a Sandgroper, do you think then that the removal of land parcels um, from the Pioneer pledge pack, which they did, I think this last Citizen Con, didn't they remove land parcels completely? Do you think that
Yes.
what was the reasoning behind that? Do you think it was purely gameplay and that they've changed the way bases are going to work? Which this is what they said. They changed the way bases work. Changed. It's not just based off a plot now. You can build bases as big as you want. Do you think that was solely the reason, or do you think there's a kind of a different thinking going on behind the scenes?
I don't think we'll know until it happens.
Yeah,
But I do know there's a real big problem with black market. Those
because a
land
lot of
claims
people
are
were
really
disappointed that
there's
they,
a lot of
you know,
people that really spent a lot of money on black market land claims.
mm,
I said today on the show, I said one of the questions I'm trying to get actively answered was like about the example I gave was just best in show skins, right? Will they be available eventually to earn in game? Now, based on everything me and Algrid knows, that is the case, but there are multiple other content creators that disagree with us on that, quite passionately so, and I've got no problem with that. I honestly just want the truth
yeah,
and to get an answer from CIG. But there are people spending like the last time when I saw a best in show eclipse for sale with the what was the black, white, and gold that year, but on
yeah,
the eclipse it's just white and gold. $1,500. That's only a $300 ship, right?
that's
So
crazy.
that's $300 that CIG are losing. It's not in their interest to allow this black market stuff to continue,
Yeah,
especially on those items that will potentially come around again. So we really do need it re-clarified now because again, me and Algrid heard it all the way back during the beginning, and there's these people that think it's not the same just because so much time has passed. So again, when you're dealing with such big amounts of money specifically,
yeah,
I'd really love to get that answered. And I did reach out to people at CIG, but they didn't know the answer, right?
yeah.
So I'll put that to you too. If you can get an answer off someone, but again, you
Well,
could put that to John or Ben, and they might not know because it might be marketing department.
well,
It's just you just don't know what
this
department.
goes back to my what I said at the beginning of the show, where I think CIG has a solid compass bearing of where they're going, but they
Mm,
don't totally know the island they're going to end up for various topics like this.
yeah.
I mean, and that's natural. I mean, it's an evolving landscape, obviously. Um, let me since we're on this topic, and I know I'm kind of peppering you with some questions.
That's fine.
What
That's fine.
we know, or at least I think we're all positing based off what Richard Tyre walked us through with Star System 1.0, and he kind of walked us through a typical gameplay loop. Um,
Yeah.
we know blueprints are going to be extremely important in this game. It sounds like they're going to be a very, very valuable reason for why we play gameplay loops at all is to earn these blueprints. Do you see blueprints coming on the stores for real money at any time
Well,
soon?
one
Or
step.
do you think things like paints and all that will just turn into blueprints to be bought off the store?
Well, just real quick, one step before that, it shows you how big base building is going to be.
Yeah. And crafting
And
and
yeah,
manufacturing and all that. Yeah.
if we've got this many ships, you'd expect there to be at least that many buildings again. And on
Yeah.
top of that, like the ways you can build them, I think you'll find that there'll be quite a number of ships by the end that will build these things. It
Yeah.
won't just be limited to 4 or 5. It'll be quite a lot.
Yeah.
That said, I don't think blueprints should ever be sold. Now, given away, it might be a different thing as an exclusive event thing. But again, wouldn't you put an event in game behind a rep wall?
Right.
Um, and I think it also shows that, I might have a pioneer, but if I've got no patterns, I'm useless. Right.
Right.
And again, it shows how much as an org that it's going to require. Like I went down the combat tree and I've got all these different patterns for all these ships. And you, Grim, also went down the combat tree, but you decided to go down vehicles. So you can build all the vehicles.
Right.
And then Ender decided to go down the medical tree and he wants to make a medical. You see where I'm going with this,
Yeah.
right? It's going to take a village on a village side building scale to do these things, or am I John Citizen and I just went a little bit down every single one so I
Mhm.
can build tiny little villages everywhere?
Yeah. Yeah. It Did they answer the question? I know people were asking. Do you know if CIG answered this when people were asking if the ships we currently own that we purchased, are we going to get their blueprints?
No, but that is a question I had.
Okay.
Trying to
Gotcha.
get a question answered on Spectrum is like trying to ask them to give you downvoting arrows for 10 years and they refuse. I
um,
look, I'd really love to make a push for downvoting arrows
oh my
because
God.
there's
Yeah.
just no,
100%.
like everyone I ask is like I asked a lot of the devs and it seemed pretty split. Like there was just as many people for it against it, but I think it's time to test it and
Chat
just see
says
if
no,
it's
by the
less
way.
toxic.
Yeah.
That's fine. That
Chat
you can
says we
say
won't.
no.
Chat says we won't get the blueprints for those. Apparently, that was said on an
Yeah.
ISC.
Okay, cool. That's cool. But again, I'm only human. I will forget things
Yeah.
or not have even heard things. I
Yeah.
did miss a lot while I was away, right?
Yeah.
Like I missed a lot of Starlancer stuff. I missed a lot of like the FSMV and stuff
Yeah.
like that because I just didn't have my normal computer setup. I had a really good laptop that someone was kind enough to lend me, but it just wasn't. I was on a kitchen table doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just not the
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
To kind of wrap up the discussion, and then we'll get to the giveaway, which, by the way, we're going to be wrapping up the giveaway very soon here, folks. Again, if you're on Twitch, you're going to do exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket space max. That enters you to win the Avenger Citizen Con starter pack that comes with the Iron Weave paint, the Art SL armor, all that kind of good stuff. 24 months insurance. If you are over on YouTube, there is a video pinned to a link pinned to the top of the chat window. That takes you to my Merchantman Shipyard video. Just leave a comment on that video. We're going to pull a random winner from the comments that were left today, and we're going to do the Twitch giveaway part, and there'll be a winner from that. We're going to take both of those names, put you in the wheel of names, spin it. The winner of that will win the Avenger starter pack, and the second, and whoever.
The way I visualize that, we're going to put you in and spin it, and the one that doesn't puke wins.
We're going to spin you around. The one that doesn't puke wins the Avenger starter pack. The one that comes in second will get a Starjump ship all ships poster. So we'll do that just a minute.
Great. Sorry.
The sort of last question, I guess, for you on this execute is kind of circling back to the beginning of our conversation. How important is this year for CIG, knowing that Squadron 42 is coming up, all this stuff? How important is this year in terms of earnings? Like, do you think it's really important for them to have a big year? Because if you look at their earnings year over year, I'll go back to the window here. If you look at those year over year, there's been a pretty steady increase with actually some dramatic increases, in both 2020 and 2022. Again, 2020 was the year that Persistence came online and other things. I think maybe Socks came online. I can't remember. And then, so some of these big jumps here, do you think it's just going to get harder and harder for CIG to keep one-upping themselves every year? How important do you think that is going forward, or do you think they just need to kind of keep their North Star ahead of them and not worry so much?
I think it just shows the game is growing, right? Like a game should grow, and I don't think until halfway through its life cycle sort of start going back down, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the follow, Vesto.
I don't see last year as a real negative. I think that was like what 2 million.
Yeah.
It's a drop in the ocean. Like a small little step could have been missped there with some of the things we mentioned before. But realistically, I'm not going to cry over 2 mil. Like, especially when you're going over 100 mil. Like we're talking about 1%. Like it's not a lot to worry about. If it had been 10%, then we could probably start to have a conversation. And let's be honest, in statistics, 5% is an error.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be an interesting year, to say the least. I mean, it's hard for, I think, any of us to predict, because it's just in terms of how the year's going to go, because obviously they're doing something a little different. I think they're even a little kind of curious of how this year's going to go. It may turn out to be a really great decision to focus on playability and stability. We're still going to get our new ships. I don't see a big thing there. However, I do see possibly a change. Like, there's some ships that may get a pin pushed in them that maybe they were planning on releasing. Juggernaut, thank you for that follow. There's some, again, ships are sometimes tied to features, so it's very possible some ships get a pin in them. But for all intents and purposes, this could end up being a great year. it could be a year that
I
we get to the end and we're like, man, this has been a bummer year. I just don't know.
it could, right? So this is how I see it. It is a 2-year run up to Squadron 42
Yep.
release, right? I think this year we're hearing rumors of there is no Citizen Con.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
you.
you
What
for the
gives?
follow.
Yep. Thank you, bud.
I read you quick.
What gives too? Appreciate it.
Oh, what gives? He does Emily, the voice assistant. I know who he is.
Oh,
Nice
awesome.
to see you. What?
Awesome.
Yeah.
How are you? What gives?
Yeah.
Thanks for that follow.
Yeah, so I think being a 2-year run up to Squadron 42, they can test a few things this year. They can try and be as positive as they can and kind of turn the wheel back around a bit and into the positivity camp. And if they see that working, they can do it. They've got, that looks like that we're trying to do. And then with everything they learn at the end of this year, they can course correct again. Either completely go back the other way or completely keep going, steer it in the direction that's safer, obviously.
Yeah.
So they've got time on their side. And again, if the rumors we're hearing that there is no Citizen Con, that could also be a good thing because they've just got more time to put work in this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Have wait and see.
Yep. Real quick, we're going to wrap some stuff up here. We're going to do our giveaway. I want to do a big thank you again to Yo-Yo Meg. I know Yo-Yo's in the channel. Thank you for that raid, Yo-Yo. That was absolutely legendary. So thank you for that. You brought in all of your community, and it looks like for the most part everyone stuck around. So that's really great. Appreciate that as always. Execute, obviously.
She ever does merch.
Yeah.
I want to be able to buy afros and I'll wear a Yo-Yo Meg afro on stream.
That'd be an interesting. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Grand Nismo, thank you for that follow. Appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and roll it over here, everyone. I'm going to switch to stream elements real quick here. Bear with me. Let me switch us. Let me switch the view over here. These always are a little. Again, I wish I could find a better way to do giveaways on YouTube and Twitch, but this is how I do it. So bear with me. If you're on Twitch, exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket space max, you get about 10 seconds to get them all in. We got 90 entrants, 371 tickets purchased. Again, this is for the
countdown.
I know. I need a good countdown graphic. That's a good idea. But 5 more seconds, everyone.
About to explode.
I need to.
It's imploding.
I got such a backlog of stuff I got to create for me.
Yeah.
And here we go. I'm going to close the giveaway in 3, 2, 1. Giveaway is closed. Good luck. Remember, if you win on here, you don't get the Avenger. You get put into the Wheel of Names along with the YouTube winner, and then that gets spun. So be patient. But if you win here, you're at least going to get either an Avenger or you're going to get a Starjump poster. Okay.
It's not the Wheel of Names anymore. It's called the Pukatron.
The Pukatron, yes. Here we go, drawing a winner. You do have to be in chat. I do need to see your name, so definitely shout out if I call out your name. Say, hey, I'm here. Here we go. The K-Man, K77, the K-Man, are you in chat? Let me know. The K-Man, congratulations, by the way. Please respond in chat if you're here.
Fast Cart.
Hey, Fast Cart, hope you're well. Fast Cart. The K-Man. Let's give the K-Man just a minute. Let me know if anyone sees him. Quinn says it's rigged. He could be right. He could be right. Is the K-Man in chat? Let's just check that, actually.
Well, it's not. It's confirmed it's not rigged if he's not here.
That's true. The K-Man. All right, let's see here.
Nope, he's out, apparently, according to Midgard's.
K-Man, are you there? The real...
Alex didn't win. Alex, you don't need to win. You brought this ship anyway. You know you did.
We'll give the K-Man just a few more seconds to reply. If he doesn't reply, we'll put him in the backlog of people that maybe can get a Starjump poster or something here. The K-Man is going to give you 5 more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Snappocalypse says he's pooping. It's very possible. It's very possible.
Well, he's going to pop when he finds out. So
yeah, that's okay, everyone. If he comes in after the fact, I can always hook him up with a poster. Here we go. We're gonna draw another winner here in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another winner drawn. Striker 199. Striker 199. Are you in chat? Let us know. Striker 199. There he is. Striker 199 is in chat.
Yeah, he's there.
Congratulations. I'm going to go ahead and enter you in the wheel of names real quick here. Bear with me. Striker 199. Now, Striker 199, when you at the end of this, when we do, I'm going to need you to DM me on Twitch if you would, please, and I will, get your information from you. As a matter of fact, I will go ahead and hit you with a whisper now. That way you have it. But here we go. We're going to continue on. We're now going to move to the YouTube comment picker. Again, remember, this is on the Bandit Merchantman. All you have to do is leave one comment. I'm going to enter the day search thing here. So it's for today. And the stream tonight started at 9 p.m. So we're going to go to 9 p.m., which is when I started doing the comments. There we go. And I'm going to pick a random comment. All right, here we go. YouTube, please remember, you do need to voice up, and you're going to need to contact me through Discord, okay? I need to see you chime in, say you're here. I know sometimes the names are different. I am going to check that. You need to contact me through Discord. I am going to verify you, okay? I'm going to verify you.
Yeah, we do it. We give them 3 words, so we'll go like fox, banana, monkey, or something like that, and then get them to post that in chat. And it's like, oh yeah, you are real.
There you go. It's a good way. That's a good way. Here we go. Picking a random YouTube comment now. The shark is on the hunt. The shark is on the hunt. We got Night Raven 09. Night Raven 09, are you in chat? Night Raven. You need to say hello. It's Night Raven in chat, so I know and can tag it. There he is. Night Raven 09 is definitely in chat. Night Raven, congrats. Going to put you into the wheel of names here, and then we're going to spin that. All right, here we go. We got Striker and we got Night Raven. All right, here we go. Congratulations, by the way. Okay, everyone, one more time.
Spin the Pukatron.
I'm going to spin the Pukatron. Whoever's the winner gets the Avenger Starter Pack. I'll send that. I can send that after the show here.
Is there
shortly after.
paint on this or not?
It's the Ironweave paint.
Okay.
It's the Ironweave paint, which is the best paint in my opinion. But and then the Arden SL armor, 24 months insurance, all that good stuff.
I was going to give you one to give to it, but you've already got one. So
okay, yes. Whoever gets second place, you will win a Starjump shipyard, or sorry, a Starjump all ship scales poster. If for some reason,
it looks like.
I do need to show you all what it looks like, don't I? Do I have it? Let's see. I do have it. Bear with me, everyone, because I should probably show. I didn't come prepared. I'm really slacking here. We're
doing it live.
We're doing it live, people. Here is the poster. That is the All Ships poster right there. It has been updated with the Fortune and the Super Hornet. Again, Super Hornet will be coming to Fleet Viewer very, very days away. Starlet's just sick right now. Please be patient. But you'll get a nice, big, physically printed version of this. If for some reason both winners want the poster, that's fine. We'll save the giveaway, the ship, and you can both have it. Anyway, here we go. We're going to the random wheel of names. Congratulations. Go ahead.
And in fact, now you get a free magnifying glass so you can see the Hostelix notes.
Yes. Here we go, everyone. We're rolling now.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right. Night Raven. Night Raven. All right.
No, it's not Rave.
I forgot the end.
I'm have to give it to him. Night
Raven on my channel. You'll see a link to the Discord. Just contact me through Discord. You can send me a friend invite, whisper me, whatever. I will check you there, and we'll get you all squared away. Striker 199, you just won the Starjump poster. So I sent you that Twitter DM. All you got to do is send me your mailing address there, and I'll get you squared away. Posters don't go out right away, by the way. I usually wait till I get about 4 or 5 built up in the backlog, and then I send them all out at once. I'm very close to that, so it's probably just like 2 weeks or so from now that I'll send posters out. But they are really nice from what I've heard from people. Night Raven, if for some reason you want a poster and don't want the ship, just tell me that when me and you communicate on Discord, and I will get you set up. Congratulations, everyone. Execute. Tell everyone where they can find you, please, sir.
I'm terrible at this promotion stuff.
I know, but you have to.
Just Twitch and YouTube. We're Infrunners. You guys know us by now, I think. Well, if you don't know, ask someone and I'll tell you.
There you go.
Yeah. We do a lot of stuff like similar to what Grim does. We talk about ships all the
time. Yeah. That being said, I'm going to send you all, and I want you to send some Starjump love. I'm going to send you all to someone I owe a raid to this person. They've raided me not too awful long back, but it's time to repay the favor, and that is going to be to... Kelsar Prime, go ahead and give them some love. They got 6 people over. Please give them some Starjump love. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. Execute, thank you so much for being on here with me and doing this with me. You're always super fun to talk to about anything
Anytime.
Star Citizen related. It's one of my favorite things to do with you is just talk ships and talk about this game. So
we do it off stream. What are you talking about?
I know, we talk all the time. It's ridiculous. Everyone, have a great night. Do a kind thing for strangers. Do not forget, we have St. Jude information coming. Make sure you go follow Ender's channel. I put it in the chat quite a few times. Make sure you go give his channel a follow, and we'll be doing more St. Jude news as we get closer to April and May. Big St. Jude push this year. Everyone, have a great night. Thank you again.